welcome back class 6. I hope you are doing good and also you have gone through the previous video. Well, today we are due with the remaining portion of the chapter What Books and Burials Tell Us, where we will see the things a little more in detail. Till now we have seen that how the Vedas served as one of the major or one of the oldest written manuscripts that we were following and that were in vogue from the time of the Vedic era. So how the Vedic people used to act accordingly and how the things have been carried forward till now. What are the different names of the people, what were the major occupations, and what the Vedas told about the social classification also. Today we will see that what were the different names that were used to denote or to name few people. Okay, where we will see that sometimes the two words were used to describe the people or the community as a whole. One such word was Jana, which we still use in Hindi and other languages, and the other name was Vish. The word Vaishya came from Vish. Okay, so the one word was Vish and the other was Jana, which was to describe the people or the community as a whole. Several Vish or Jana are mentioned by name, so we find reference to the Purujana or Vish and the Bharatajana or Vish, the Yadujana or Vish, and so on. So these were the commonly used names prevalent in that particular time. Sometimes the people who composed the hymns described themselves as Aryas. We have already seen that the Munis or the priests used to comprise the hymns, and the hymns were had several meanings, and those hymns were actually pathfinder for the later period that came after the Vedic era. So we will see that the people who composed the hymns described themselves as Aryas and called their opponents as Dasas or Daishus.
Now, these were the people who did not perform sacrifices and probably spoke different languages.
Later, the term Dasa and the feminine Dasi, Dasa was a masculine word and Dasi was a feminine word, came to mean as slaves. Okay, so nowadays also we have seen that in the ancient period and medieval period these two terms were
quite popular.
Slaves were women and men who were often captured in war. Okay, so they were treated as the property of the owners who could make them
do whatever they wanted. While the Rig Veda was being composed in the northwest of the subcontinent, there were other development elsewhere. So this was the period, we are talking about a period
as a whole when at one point of time, at one part of the continent, most precisely the northwest part of the subcontinent, the Veda was being composed, but there were other incidents that were happening elsewhere in the subcontinent. We will see
those also. Now we will see the story of the megaliths. What are the megaliths? The stone boulders are known as the megaliths precisely, literally big stones. So the big stones or the boulders were which gave us a lot of information at some point of time were called megaliths, and they were carefully arranged by people and were used to mark the burial sites. Okay, so now we are moving to the burial sites after the written documents. Okay, so the megaliths were carefully arranged by the people. The practice of erecting megaliths began about 3000 years ago and was prevalent throughout the Deccan, South India, in the northeast and also in Kashmir. So, as we can see that elsewhere in the continent, these megaliths were becoming popular, and they were more popular in the Deccan part of the subcontinent. Some important megalithic sites pictures are given in the in your book. You can refer. I will also be giving you a few pictures, so you can refer to them also. Some megaliths can be seen on the surface, and other megaliths burials are often underground. Sometimes archaeologists find a circle of stone boulders or a single large stone standing on the ground. These are only the indications that there are burials beneath. So these were actually for marking the burial sites. Okay. Now, all these burials have some common features. Generally, the dead were buried with the distinctive spots, which are called the black and the red ware. Also found are tools and weapons of iron and sometimes skeletons of horses, horse equipments, and ornaments of stones and golds. So, these megaliths were having some specific feature which told us, which gave us a detail about all these things. Like all these things were also being spotted beneath the megaliths. Now, finding out about the social differences. How we can find about the social differences from these megaliths. Archaeologists think that the objects found with the skeleton probably belong to a dead person. Sometimes more objects are found in one grave than in another. Okay. Now, you can see various maps are given. So, where we can find in map 2, the skeleton was buried with 33 gold beads, stone beads, copper bangles, and 1 conch shell. Other skeletons have only few pots. These finds that there were some differences of status amongst the people who were buried. Some were rich, other poor, and some chiefs and other followers. So it is natural that the more number of pots have been found in the burial will belong to a rich social status than the person who had fewer pots in their burial. Okay. Sometimes megaliths contain more than one skeleton. These indicate people perhaps belonging to the same family. So the people of the same family were buried together, though at the same time. The bodies of those who died were later brought into the grave through the portholes. Stone circles or boulders placed on the surface probably served as signposts to find the burial sites. So, whenever we found the circles or the boulders, we will see that they were they used to use the signpost. Okay, like so as who was he or she, so that people could return to the same place whenever they wanted to. A special burial at Inamgaon. Now we will look at or will study about a site which is located at Inamgaon and what is the speciality of the burial site. Now, it is a site on the river Ghor, a river of the tributary of the Bhima. Okay, so Bhima river, along the side of this river Ghor, we find this megalith. Now, it was occupied between 3600 and 2700 years ago. Adults were generally buried in the ground, laid out straight with the head towards the north. Sometimes burials were within the houses, vessels that probably contained food and water were placed with the dead. Okay, so sometimes food and water was also be placed within with the dead. This tradition we actually have also found in the Egyptian civilization, when they used to preserve the dead bodies and they used to provide with all the necessary things that the people particular person used to use. Okay, one man was found buried in a large 4-legged clay jar in the courtyard of a 5-roomed house, and it was a quite a interesting sight to found. Okay, and it was at the center of the settlement. The house also had a granary. The body was placed in a cross-legged position. Now, what we can infer from these about the occupation at Inamgaon? Archaeologists found that the seeds of wheat, barley, rice, pulses, millets, and peas and sesame, bones of a number of animals, many bearing cut marks that show that they may have been used as the food have also been found. These include cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, dog, horse, ass, pig, sambar, spotted deer, black buck, antelope, hare, mongoose, etc., fish, crab, etc. There is evidence that fruits such as bear, amla, jamun, dates and a variety of berries were collected. So, children, like from a simple site of a burial ground which was at Ilamgao, we could find so many social features from that particular information. So not only the books or the written records, but also these architectural structure or these stone structure gave us a lot of information about how the social norms were, how the people used to live, how they used to get buried, and what about their occupation. So from the books and the burials, actually we get a lot of information about and we used to get a lot of information of our ancient time, and about the people, about their culture, and mostly about the shape of our subcontinent, like how the people used to live or how the people used to have their livelihood, how it was different from that of now. So that was all about this chapter, children. This is not a very complex chapter, but yes, again, you have to read a lot, you have to know the facts well about the specific facts. So you need to go through the book carefully and then please refer to the question answer. If you come across any problem in understanding, please comment and let me know so that I am being able to understand your problem areas. Okay. Till then, I'll be back with some other chapter the next day. Till then, take care. Goodbye.